Slightly different date night this week.
Yeah, you've made a request on what you want to watch.
I have, yes. I really want to watch Terminator. Oh, I'm going to get the title wrong. Terminator: Dark Fate.
That's what
Is that the film that I want to see?
That's how I imagined it to be called.
But like the latest Terminator, which has come on to Sky recently, so it popped up, and I didn't even know it was going to like arrive, and I didn't see it when it came out in the pictures last year. And I really, really wanted to go, but circumstances meant that I wasn't able to. So yeah, now it's here. I want to see it because I don't really know that much about it.
So I went to see it last year. I don't really remember that much about it. I don't really remember. Well, I've got an idea of how I liked it, but I'll keep that under my hat.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about like the actual film until we watched it and we get to that bit.
It'd be odd if we went through all the plot points now.
Because I do know
unorthodox for a podcast.
Like my big thing is, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Terminator: Dark Fate and doesn't want to know anything about it. But my big thing that I know is that Linda Hamilton's back. And I love Linda Hamilton. Like, I just thought she was amazing, the way that she switched from the original Terminator film to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I still, like, remember seeing her does she do, like, those pull-up things? I can't remember whether it's push-ups or pull-ups or whatever, but she's working out in the... it's like an asylum. Would that be what you would call it?
I think modern day you would call it an
institution.
Yes, she's been taken under the care under whatever the American 90s equivalent of the Mental Health Act is.
That's it. Yeah, so she's been sectioned.
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah, that's the word we're looking for. But yeah, and when you said taken under the care, obviously they're not treating her particularly well.
No.
In that institution. But I remember seeing her and like seeing her arms and seeing just she was so different from the Linda Hamilton we knew in the original Terminator. If you go back and watch that, she's curly hair, she's going out with it, she's like living in a flat with a girlfriend,
yes.
You know, and all they going out on the town, and they find her in a club, and you can't believe that difference between that Linda Hamilton and then the next one in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing her back on screen because I think she's a fantastic screen presence, and the character of Sarah Connor I think is absolutely iconic, and what a character for women, because this was the action franchise, sci-fi franchise, and there was a woman right at the heart of it, which was brilliant for me in sort of 1991 when I first saw Terminator 2 before Terminator, so I saw it the wrong way around.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hadn't seen the original Sarah Connor. So when I then went back and watched the original Terminator, I couldn't believe the journey that Linda Hamilton had been on.
Okay, fair enough. So I remember watching Terminator taped off the telly in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, because it was 89 the original Terminator came out.
It can't be 89 that the original Terminator came out.
It is, darling.
Nowhere.
Yeah. Okay, quick draw for the phones. I'm going to have a look as well. Terminator 2 was 1991.
Yeah, and there was a fair bit of time between it.
Oh, The Terminator 1984. Oops. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so.
Just going to crawl away and hide under a rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Late 80s, it was on TV. I remember watching it, like, being blown away by it because it was just like Arnold Schwarzenegger being cool. And then I remember watching Terminator 2 because Terminator 2 was like a 15, was it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. But I remember some kids who should have probably been disciplined or not been allowed to do it, showing it over like 3 days on a lunchtime in the school library.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I thought it was like in their, garage or something. But no.
Nope, school library on a
Wow.
lunchtime. So we went in and watched like it 40 minutes at a time, or it might have been, an hour or whatever. But yeah, so that's how I saw Terminator 2. And then the next films blend into one for me.
Okay. See, I love a franchise. Even the franchises that lose all heart and soul. So I'm thinking about Aliens. I love a continuing story, especially when someone comes along, like let's say with Aliens, Fincher comes along and does Alien 3.
Yeah.
And totally turns it on its head. I know you haven't seen Alien 3, so
Yes.
I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it is a very, very different film to the 2 preceding Alien films. And even the one after that, Alien Resurrection, that becomes, it's the guy who did Amelie?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Who might?
Isn't it the guy that did The Transporter and Leon and things like that? Okay, so yeah, it is Amelie. Well, aren't we the font of film knowledge today? We shouldn't check these out, just send them out.
So you've got that. So he's it's very European. Your characters are much more international compared to like the original Alien. I'm not going to go into massive about the Alien franchise, but everyone brings something to the party, even though the party might not be particularly good. And that's what I really love about franchises. I really like sometimes I much prefer the ones that are a bit rubbish. Look at Jaws for me. It's not that I prefer Jaws 3D, but I have a really good time watching it. It's definitely not that I prefer Jaws the Revenge, but if it's on, I will watch it because it's part of that story.
I mean, I'm the same with Police Academy.
Okay.
Like, I grew up watching the Police Academy films, and I love them. And if they are on, I can watch them. And even then, like, there are rubbish ones of the Police Academy film, and it was starting at not the highest point anywhere, and goes downhill. I mean, Steve Guttenberg left it, and
Oh no!
yeah, Steve Guttenberg bails after 4 of them.
In all of them?
No. After 4, he bails,
Oh dear.
and they replace him with a Guttenberg-alike.
And thinking about that, in Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, try and get this right, so Nick Stahl takes over as John Connor. Do you remember Nick Stahl?
Yeah.
No, he has had a bit of a troubled story recently. I know him from Sin City.
Okay.
So I remember him in Sin City. And then his star was on the what's the word I'm looking for? On the
On the rise?
On the wane. Yeah, that's it. On the rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really are not doing very well tonight, are we? His star was on the rise. And then, of course, they put him in as John Connor. He's not a good John Connor. Claire Danes turns up as his wife in that as well.
Okay.
She's okay. Like, she's trying her best. But you've got Christina Loken as the TX, as the female Terminator.
Yeah.
And there's the awful shot of her boobs expanding, and it just got a bit bizarre. Then what's the next one?
Terminator Salvation is the next one.
And who's in that one?
So that's the one with Christian Bale and Sam Worthington.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Directed by McG, where Christian Bale, lost it on set. Hey, McG!
McG.
Yeah, so that's got Christian Bale, Sam Worthington, who was fresh off Avatar. I don't know whether it was before or after, but obviously that was a big thing at the time. Anton Yelchin was in it.
Of course, he played Kyle Reese, and very sadly, he died very tragically just after that, yeah.
Moon Bloodgood.
Oh, yes, I love Moon Bloodgood.
Apparently Helena Bonham Carter's in it.
Yeah, she is. She's a doctor.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, she plays his wife.
God, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, I do know that.
And then it's
Genesis.
Genesis, which we watched on a flight.
Yeah.
What year was it? Terminator Genesis.
Could it possibly be Las Vegas? Don't we only ever go to Las Vegas?
Well, it was either Las Vegas or
New York.
So it was 2015, so it was probably New York. And that was Jason Clarke as John Connor.
Yes.
And Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor.
And I really lost it at that. That was one where I know I'm saying I really like rubbish sequels, but something went desperately wrong with that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way that they took the story. It just didn't feel like Terminator to me. So I'm interested to see what's happening with this one, because this seems, and I'm saying that with a big emphasis on it, this, what would have tempted Linda Hamilton back? Because she didn't have to do this. It probably reminds her a lot of her ex-husband, because she was married to James Cameron.
Yeah.
So why would she come back and be involved in this film if she didn't think there was something to it?
So what do you know about the continuity of this?
Not particularly very much, and I don't really want to go into it now, if that's okay.
Okay,
because
that's
I'd like
absolutely
to
fine.
go in. I can't really remember very much about it.
Yeah.
I remember bits from the trailer.
Right.
But it's all out of sync, and if we remind ourselves of it now, I'm going to go into it having more knowledge than I want. Is
That's
that
absolutely
okay?
fine. Yeah. We'll
Cool.
do that.
I really want to talk about James Cameron and all of his marriages when we come back.
I don't
So
think,
remind
I don't
me
think
about
we
that.
necessarily need to do that.
I really
but-
want to.
Okay.
He's been married 5 times.
Ross from Friends has been married 3 times.
Wow, it's
but-
exciting. I love who he's been married to and when and all the timeline. But anyway, yes, that's
Okay.
me and my little gossipy magazine part of me coming out.
Sidebar of shame.
Hey, don't be doing that with me. Right, let's go and watch Terminator Dark Fate.
Okay.
My name is Sarah Connor. August 29, 1997. It was supposed to be Judgment Day. But I changed the future. Saved 3 billion lives. Enough of a resume for you?
No. You may have changed the future, but you didn't change our fate. I know you're scared, but I'm here to protect you.
Never seen one like you before. Almost human.
I am human, just enhanced. Why do you care what happens to her?
Because I was her.
I can see you're very upset. I'm going to help you protect the girl.
Nobody else is gonna die because of me! If you don't make it, everybody dies!
Expect a big ping, brother. The whole body's a weapon. Sorry.
When this is all over, I am going to kill you.
I understand.
I'll be back.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I really like the soundtrack.
Why is it whenever there's a character called Grace, I don't think of Grace Kelly, I don't think of Grace Jones, I think of Get Grace Out from early Big Brothers.
Get Grace out. Get Grace out. Grace
Yeah.
and Mikey.
Yeah.
They're still together.
Literally, when someone said, "Where's Grace?" in that, and I really want to go, "Oh, she's in the diary room with Mikey."
Now they've got a couple of kids and they're married and they've been together for ages. It's nice. It's nice.
Well, we've alienated every other listener.
Yeah, if anyone didn't watch the good old UK Big Brother from back in the day.
2003, 4.
Oh, God, please don't tell me that you know that that's the actual day.
It will be around then. It was an
know you-
earlier series. It
You've
started
got a
in
real thing for
2001,
this. Yeah.
and it was like maybe the second or third or fourth series, I think.
I knew you would know this because you've got exactly the same sort of mindset for X Factor contestants as well. You're
Do
really
I?
good with that. You, if I say to you, who was in the 2004 X Factor or whatever, do you know what I mean? Like, who was it? Who won 2011
Yeah.
X Factor? You can just tell me who's in it, even like the really random ones, like Two Shoes.
Two Shoes are the best. Diva Fever.
See, this is what I mean. I brought Two Shoes out from the back of my mind because you mentioned them, so I've got that as a, you know. But Diva Fever, I have not thought of since they were on that show.
It was 2006.
Oh, stop it. Anyway, I was gonna Big Brother, but that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about Terminator Dark Fate. So yeah, I know I said spoilers in the first part of this, but spoilers again for Terminator Dark Fate. We are going to spoil the heck out of this. Exciting. I'm so pleased with that. I've gone in with very low expectations, I have to say. So I don't know whether my low expectations have lifted my enjoyment of this film. I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
It's too long. That's my biggest concern.
Oh, yeah.
It's too long.
We put ourselves into another situation where we get attacked and then we get away, and then we get into another situation where we get attacked and get away.
Totally. It's set piece after set piece after set piece.
Yeah.
Now, part of me, I was thinking about this. When they were flying out of an aeroplane at one point, I was thinking, this is going on, this chase, and I mean that throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
The chase of the whole film is going on too long. We did not need this next thing in an aeroplane, next thing in a waterfall, next thing whatever.
Yeah.
But of course, the whole idea of the Terminator is that the Terminator is always following you, that you think you've got out of that situation, and yet in the back of your mind you should always be aware that they're going to pop out from somewhere. So I've kind of got that on in this hand. Okay, the hand I'm waving about in front of you.
Yeah, but there is a narrative that you need to follow to make it interesting rather than just... Yeah. At some point, what is quite a cool Terminator does just get pretty boring by the fact that you just see him split off from his little endoskeleton, and then back he goes. Oh no, they've got away. Right, see you again in 5 minutes in a different situation.
I think it loses its power, doesn't it, when you've got someone like me who's going, oh, his little handies are coming out again, and waving my arms around like he does his little knife hands.
Yeah.
And once you've seen that for the 7th time, that does lose its power. The other thing I was really annoyed with myself about is I must have seen the trailers more than I could remember, because all the big action scenes, all the things that you're meant to go, oh, right, that's new.
Yeah.
I had seen.
The trailer gave away the entire film.
I think we went through a period of going to the pictures and seeing that trailer like every time it was on, wasn't it? And we're to the point where we got bored because
that's exactly it. I think the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh wow, this looks awesome," and then by the end, I was like, "Yeah." I was the same with Real Steel, but when a few years back,
slightly different.
I really enjoyed that film, and then thought it was awful from the trailer. But yeah, anyway, we're not reviewing Real Steel yet.
No. Well, let's see.
Give it a week.
I love the cast in this. Well, one exception. I'm going to talk about Linda Hamilton. I'm just going to jump into it because I talked about it a lot before we watched the film. I love Linda Hamilton. I can see why she's come back. She's able to play. It's given her stuff to play. There's one point in the film where she turns and says, "Oh, it's nice not to be Mother Mary anymore," referring back to the fact that she was the person that was going to give birth to John Connor, who was going to save the world, right? Yeah. And this other girl now apparently is going to do that. But later on, you also see her looking at Grace, who is now the protector, this augmented human protector. And I think Hamilton plays it really subtly, but you can see there's a real identity crisis. Here is a woman that has spent most of her adult life protecting her son. In this film, and we'll come back to this, in this film, she's not able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll come back to that. I don't know why I'm pausing as if that's a spoiler, because we've said spoilers, but anyway, so she's unable to protect him, but she spends the rest of her life after he dies looking for Terminators and going for them. So she is kick-ass Sarah Connor in this. But when this new girl comes in, this young girl, she's no longer Mother Mary, and she's no longer the Great Protector, because there's someone else here to protect them. And I got that real sense. I don't know whether because I love Linda Hamilton so much, I'm like buying into this, but I got this real sense of identity loss. And it came from that line of, someone else to play Mother Mary. And what is she now? What role does she have to play? They don't even remember Skynet. Skynet doesn't even occur in this hissy. In this
hissy fit that they're having.
In this hissy fit that I'm having. Yeah, in this timeline. I'll just not say anything begin with H.
Yeah.
So in this timeline, Skynet doesn't even exist. They don't even know who she is. She doesn't have that power of, I'm Sarah Connor, my son's John Connor. Do you know what I mean?
I'm really glad you got this out of it.
Uh-oh.
I found Linda Hamilton to be almost a parody of herself in this.
No.
Comes on, she's wooden as hell.
She's not wooden,
She
Mark.
is.
She
wooden
really
as
isn't
hell.
wooden. No,
Well,
she isn't.
she is, in my opinion.
She's not, in my opinion.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Come on, she's wooden as hell. She sulks on screen.
She's not wooden.
Well, it's my opinion. And I've seen it twice. And
She's not sulking.
Oh.
She's in trauma. The woman's in trauma. I feel
I don't
a great
think
deal
well,
of...
and I don't think Linda Hamilton can pull that off if that's what they're going for.
Well, it must have done something for me, because... Are you looking upstairs because we're shouting and you're worried?
No.
Blake's gonna wake
Sorry,
up.
honey. I'm rolling my eyes.
I thought you were like saying, "Oh, Blake might wake up if we shout a bit." Okay. Okay. So let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Maybe I take a lot from this because a lot of the scenes that Linda Hamilton has, she's talking about trauma and loss,
okay.
and quite a few of them made me a bit teary. She was talking about not having many photographs of her son.
Yep.
Tick.
Yeah.
She talks about the sense of trying to find purpose after her son's death. Hello. So a lot of those things, I wondered whether, and again, maybe I'm reading into this. You know how you bring yourself to the party, and maybe I'm bringing a bit too much of myself, but I wondered whether whoever had written this had a loss, had some kind of bereavement, had some kind of trauma, because that is what I took from it, and I appreciated that vibe, whether it was meant to be there or not. But I do acknowledge and respect your opinion.
It's probably just a coincidence that the last thing I saw that I've seen that I recognise the title of is Terminator Salvation in 2009. And then before that, Home by Christmas, Thief, The Kid and I. She's such a good actress. She's getting all the roles, and she's just come back for this.
I'm going to challenge you on this.
Yeah.
This I think is the problem with Hollywood. When we're looking at this film, okay, we've got 3 women at the centre of it. So you don't get that in many films, unless you've got something like Bridesmaids, for example, where they're playing comedic characters and women against each other. That's often the theme as well.
Yeah.
Here you've got a film with 3 women at the centre of it, and you've got, in inverted commas, because she's not that old, but you've got an older actress that's not playing the grandma, an older actress that's not playing an ex-wife. You know, you have films like Ex-Wives Club, and they're all actually 40, you know, rather than sort of later on in life after their 4th husband. I find this really, I find it really good as a woman to see an older woman on the screen playing this kick-ass character.
And I totally understand that. I personally don't think she hit home on the performance.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I'm putting that to one side. And what the point that I'm making is, the argument that I'm making is that she may not have been given the opportunity to do this in her career, because Hollywood is so against women aging. Because Hollywood doesn't look at women past 37 and go, oh, they'll carry on their career, unless they're put into, you know, unless you're like a grand dame like Judi Dench, for example. That's the argument that I'm making, is that perhaps Linda Hamilton's career has not gone the way that we would have liked it to because of difficulties that we see in Hollywood.
She was 28 when the first Terminator came out. Name a couple of things else that she was in at that time.
I don't know, Dan. I don't know.
I don't think she's a very good actress.
Okay.
I think she has a better presence, but I think she's acted off the screen by Mackenzie Davis in this.
Well, I don't agree with the premise, but I agree that Mackenzie Davis does a really good job.
Okay, I'm glad that we
So
found
that's good.
some common ground.
Yeah, I think she's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the augmentation. It wasn't like all that stuff you saw in Salvation and Genesis, where they're making these hybrid, oh, he's a Terminator, oh, he isn't, oh, he's a Terminator with a conscience, oh, he's a... Do you know, and it got ridiculous.
Yeah.
I hated that they made John Connor a Terminator in Genesis, I think it was.
I'd forgotten about that. So
I hated that. There was a big thing about it because they actually revealed that in the trailer at the time.
Okay.
And I just thought it was terrible. But with this, you can understand that in the future, maybe there could have been some augmentation to a human, that they retain their human, they retain their being as a human.
Yeah.
They can die, but they've got this extra strength, for example.
Yeah.
I thought she played it really well. I kind of saw the subtleties at the beginning about her connection with Danny, who is the girl that she's trying to protect.
Yeah.
You saw there was something there. I actually thought it was a love connection rather than Danny being essentially her mother.
Yes.
In the future. I got the sense that there was more of like a romantic feel there, and I was a little bit surprised when they went into it wasn't what I was thinking when I was watching it, but fine. My weak link in this is Natalia Reyes, unfortunately.
You see, this is the difference between me and you. I thought she was one of the best things in it. I think she carries it really well. I think she goes... I believe her when she's scared at the beginning. I don't think she's awful when she's badass at the end. Clearly, we've got a difference of opinion on this.
We are completely the other way around.
I know, it was because we had a little... You were doing some research and you made a comment and I was like, we're not going to agree on this one. Yeah.
Everything you said, I feel the opposite way. I think you feel about Linda Hamilton the way I feel about... is it Natalie Reyes or Natalia?
Natalia Reyes.
Natalia Reyes. I think she's fine, but I didn't really believe her. I found the bits where she turns into like when she is being the great leader, I just didn't believe it. Felt too forced. It felt too right. Now I've got to be really badass. Do you know what I mean? Well, you don't. I know you don't because you're looking at me. But
I understand what you're getting at. I feel exactly the same way about Linda Hamilton. So look, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this because we're not going to persuade each other either way.
I wasn't that taken by the new Terminator, I have to be honest.
He is the least menacing presence I've seen. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when you see him in the original Terminator, he's obviously a presence. Good. Robert Patrick in Terminator 2 is like a presence, even if he's not built like a brick shit house.
Yeah, but sometimes that's more scary, isn't it? That he's got almost like these pointy features.
He's got looks like a serial killer.
Yeah.
The new one just looks like someone that you just pass in the street and wouldn't. Yeah.
I mean, he was fine, but
I think the effects are cooler than he is.
Yes, but then of course, as we have said, another thing that we agreed on, which is nice, is that once you've seen those effects a few times, they lose their power.
Absolutely.
So then he loses his power, and you kind of go, well, you're going to die in the end, aren't you?
And I saw the effects a few times in the trailer as well.
And to be honest with you, whilst the effects were cool at times, there were some occasions where I felt they were a little bit computer game from the sort of early.
Can we talk about the prologue now? Because that's where I'm at Resident Evil cutscene.
Really?
Yeah. Do
you feel that way about the prologue?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought the prologue was some of the best de-aging I've ever seen.
I think there are two shots, and I think the first one I'm like, wow, okay. And even having seen it twice now, and then the next thing,
because that's young Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton and Edward Furlong is de-aged. Obviously, Edward Furlong hasn't been involved with this project, but they take a model of him and de-age him. Or
he's absolutely at that age of Judgment Day.
Even though this is 5 years later.
Yeah. They must have used the I can't even think of the words. They must have used a model from him, which of course they would do from that time.
But then, as soon as Arnold Schwarzenegger turns up, it looks and it's like something from Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
But
I did think the Linda Hamilton... I like the fact that Furlong was facing the bar. His voice was very good, whoever was doing the voice work. And I believed it. And I really liked the idea of changing the timeline.
I've got problems with that.
Right, okay, explain.
I'm no fan of Salvation and Genesis and Rise of the Machines, as we have covered. But I think to just come out a couple of years after the last film and go, none of that mattered, we're going back to Terminator 2, I think it's quite lazy writing. You essentially have, Skynet never existed, but something the same as Skynet existed.
I like that though, because when we're talking about AI, when we're talking about humans and what they do with machines, of course we're going to do the same thing. We've just got different technology, but we're using it for the same purpose.
No, it totally undoes the entire point of Terminator 2, because we go to the end of the Earth to rescue John Connor in that, and we rescue him,
Skynet.
and then but it doesn't matter because down the road there's something else that comes along.
But then the argument would be to stop the films there, and we know that these films are going to keep coming out.
And I kind of wish that they did.
Okay, fair enough. I understand that.
Or find a way to continue on from the last film. Don't just it's just laziness to go back to, because it's James Cameron being back in control of this. So he's just gone, right, we'll cross off that, we'll go back to here.
I think it's James Cameron being absolutely savvy, because he and the other writers as well, and the other producers, because they're looking at what has happened since his film has come out and gone, this is not the direction. I mean, I know in the past he has said, oh, this is a brilliant film, and he's produced some of the others as well, and he's come out and obviously given it the thumbs up. But anyone who's anyone knows that those films have not worked. So why keep adding and adding to something that isn't working? Why not go back and say, actually, here is a new story with new characters, obviously not all of them, but here are new characters, a new timeline, and we are carrying on from Terminator 2.
It didn't sit right with me.
Okay.
And I think it's laziness. I think it's one thing to do it from Halloween, to do it 20 years after the last film, but to do it 3 years after the last film, it didn't sit right with me at all. And it's very timey-wimey. A Terminator came from a future that didn't exist, and for reasons we don't need to deal with Edward Furlong anymore. And that's how I see it.
And I think that is the issue, isn't it? That we don't want to deal with the issue of John Connor, because he's been done to death now. And not necessarily in a particularly good way. I don't think he's that interesting a character. I thought Kyle Reese, out of everyone, was the most interesting character. This guy that is working with his commander-in-chief, essentially, with John Connor, that is sent back in time knowing he's going to meet the mother of John Connor, but he ends up being the whole reason that she has John Connor is because she then has a relationship with this guy. I love that. It's so timey-wimey. It absolutely blows your mind.
But it works.
And it's Michael Biehn, which, of course, he's given the most fantastic performance.
Rowan Atkinson.
Stop it. You know exactly who I mean.
It annoyed me. It annoyed me that they've just gone, we'll just cross that bit out. Okay. And then, I can't change my mind. It's
interesting that a lot of the things that I'm really appreciating, you are finding it to be a negative. I wonder why that is. I wonder what the issue is.
The only thing I can think of is I went into this, I saw it the first weekend before I read any reviews, and I was really hoping that this would sort of reignite the franchise. And I don't think, well, it obviously didn't, because it didn't do that well at the box office. And I think I look back at the text I sent to a couple of friends when I saw it, and I was like, oh, it's just really disappointing. Having seen it now without the pressure of the franchise on it, and I think I enjoyed it more. I still got flaws that you could drive a hole through.
Of course.
But I think I am more forgiving of it now, just watching it on a Sunday night in a sat with a couple of beers, than I am waiting for it to see what it can do to the Terminator franchise. For me, there is still 2 Terminator films.
Okay, fair enough.
There's still 2 Terminator films. There's still 1 Predator film.
Fair enough. I'd love to sort of go deeper into why we are seeing this in such a different way, but it's clearly thematically for you and for me, we're absolutely on the same wavelength, but opposite ones?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't be on the same wavelength if they're opposite, but I've totally ballsed that up. But you know what I mean? It's everything we're saying is, a Tenet reference at this time.
Yeah.
I'll be driving the wrong way around a roundabout again in a minute. Anything else you want to... Oh, can I mention... Sorry. Yes. I'm back at the class, teacher's pet, but my hand's been there. Can I mention the soundtrack, which I really appreciated?
I think the soundtrack's really, really good.
Is it a guy called... I tried to catch his name on the credits. Is it Tom... I want to call him, Tulkinghorn, but that's a Charles Dickens character.
Yes, I think that's...
or a mashup of a Charles Dickens character.
It's Junkie XL as...
Oh! Oh,
Tom Hulkenborg.
Hulkenborg, that's what I'm
So
going
yeah,
for.
obviously
Yeah.
Junkie XL.
Wow.
I didn't realise he was under his real name in this.
That's
Yeah, I've
amazing.
just done this looking it up.
Where's he from?
So Junkie XL is obviously a DJ.
Yeah, I know that, darling.
But he has done.
Where's he from?
Oh, where's he from?
Yeah. What's his nationality?
He's Dutch.
Okay.
Well, where's that?
Stop it.
Where is it?
Stop it.
Where are people who are Dutch from?
The Netherlands.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have you been to the Netherlands?
I was about to say no, but I have, haven't I?
Yes.
Yes. I've been to Amsterdam.
Well done.
Yes. It's very late, you know.
Elaine's not very good at geography.
Yes, I think anyone who listens to this podcast will know that you make that comment every week.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was waving my hands around talking about Junkie XL.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really appreciated that. It didn't hit you over the head with all of the Terminator themes, but it was very respectful of it, and I thought there were some beautiful melodies going
Yes.
through, particularly when we're travelling through Mexico. Yeah, I appreciated that.
Good. So, Tim Miller,
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
So he's the director.
He's the director. What do you think of the sort of look of this film?
Well, cinematography-wise, I didn't think it was anything particularly special. And direction, there were a number of occasions, actually, where I had to turn to you, didn't I, and go, what's happened there?
Yeah.
Can we just rewind that?
Yeah.
What she said? What's gone on with his arm? And there's still a couple of scenes that I don't know what was happening. Even, like, ones that I didn't even point out to you because I thought, I'll be getting annoying.
Yeah.
But there's a bit in...
Yes.
yes, Anna.
Yes.
There's a scene in the detention centre when they're crossing the border.
Yeah.
Where Linda Hamilton's fiddling around with something in her pocket, and another guy who she's not met before comes up behind her, and they almost like pass something between.
She's
each
trying to
other.
pick the lock to get out,
Yeah.
and as she's getting arrested, she hands the pick to him.
Right.
So that she's not found with a lock pick, and so someone else has lock pick, I guess.
See, didn't get that at all,
Okay.
and was waiting for that to come back. Was waiting for someone to like get the lock open or to throw something to her, or
Yeah.
there was things like that seems so simple now that you've explained it to me, but clearly it didn't work with the direction. There was the scenes underwater which I couldn't really follow. A number of the action scenes, whilst you felt the heft, because one of my real bugbears is where there's a load of action but you can't actually, it doesn't feel physical.
Yeah.
This did feel physical. Everyone, and when everyone was fighting, you felt that they were injured and tired and they needed medication, and I like that about it. But the action scenes were so difficult to follow at times.
Yeah.
That made it feel less real. Not for any of the reasons that I've said, just where is the car? Where are the people?
I don't necessarily agree with you on that. I just think that they got exhausting because it's just one after the other,
Yeah.
and
And
once
that
you
as
see,
well.
once you see it for the 7th time, then it's far less cool than it is for the first time.
I just wonder whether we've got to a point in cinema, and you'll probably disagree with me because you've disagreed with me on everything else tonight, but we've got to a point where we've seen so much action, and it seems so easy now to, there's an aeroplane and we've got a Humvee falling out of it and it's going to open a parachute, and here's something else falling down a waterfall, where that one scene would have been, if we had like the waterfall scene, for example, in a film, that would have been the culmination of the action.
Yeah.
That would have been the big thing. I'm thinking about The Fugitive. I don't know why, because there's a scene with a big waterfall in there. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is like back in the 90s, a great big scene on an aeroplane would have been the thing.
Yes.
And I don't know whether I just miss that. I miss building up to an action scene.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. I think when we go back to one of our first date nights, when we saw Waterworld, and because it's a practical effect and you can see that it's practical effects,
Yeah.
that action scene meant so much more and stayed with me so much more than like when you like the waterfall scene. I'm like, I've seen it twice and I've seen it within the last couple of hours, and I'm still like, which one's that? Yeah.
I don't believe the water's real. I don't believe the things that happening are real. Do you know what I mean?
The underwater fight was better in Top Secret than it was in this.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And you know how much it takes for me to say that something in Top Secret is really good. But yeah, you feel like you're actually there, and a lot of the action scenes were this like sepia toned. It doesn't fit the color. The color palette doesn't feel real.
It looks dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not in a sort of like physical grounded way. It just looks wishy-washy, you know.
Can we talk about Arnold?
Yes, we can talk about Arnold.
Why does the Terminator age? Other than the actor who plays him ages.
I don't know. But I'm glad they've done that instead of de-aging him like they've done in the other films. Although they did do that obviously at the beginning.
I found I found it quite a jolt for him to be shoehorned in halfway through the film.
Yeah, it does turn when they meet him.
There's a couple of jokes that like don't feel like they belong in a different film.
What about him doing some drapes?
Yeah.
I quite like that.
But it doesn't fit in that part of the film.
Okay.
It doesn't fit in this film. I think you can put humour in there because the first hour of this film is entirely humorless.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And if I've got Arnold Schwarzenegger in a film, I don't want him doing fucking stand-up.
I don't think he's doing stand-up. I think it's trying to show that he's got... Well, the Terminator always had some humanity about him.
Yes.
In that he did things that were unintentionally funny. And that, I think, is what he's doing here as well. He's talking about how you should have drapes that are a particular colour in a little girl's room. And, you know, that sort of thing.
I don't want Arnold
to
be the one cracking the stupid jokes.
Okay. But he's done that in the previous film, so I suppose it sort of...
Did he?
Yeah, well, unintentional humour when he says things that seem very, very serious, but actually they're quite light-hearted.
Yeah, but that's not what this is. This is him talking about the type of curtains you should have in a little girl's room.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All
not
right.
the humour I want from my Arnold.
Okay. I didn't mind him. I have to be honest. I didn't mind him. I thought he did a good job. I think he looks great for his age. And I'm just happy he's able to like swing himself about and do all of his bits and pieces, you know. And he had a lovely dog in this as well that I really took to. And Arnold's a big animal lover. Doesn't he like live with a pony or something? There's loads and loads of videos of him with these animals that he like lets into his house, and he's always feeding them. You're looking at me like, what have I been watching?
It's just like a fever dream or something.
No, it has. He like does these. He's been doing a lot of COVID.
Is it like Snow White or something, where she lets the bunnies in the house to feed and?
No,
or Ace Ventura.
He's been doing like the governor says, wash your hands and wear a mask and all that sort of business, and. It's been on his ranch.
I have to imagine I'm kind of my vision is like a Dr. Dolittle where there's like a giraffe's head coming through.
It is a bit, yeah. It is, but I'll show you it afterwards. As long as I haven't made it up, which is entirely possible. So yeah, I don't mind him. He's got to be in this, hasn't he? Like it's a Terminator film. You've got to put him in somewhere.
Yeah.
Tick a box. Linda Hamilton's back. Arnold's back. I could see they were actually really enjoying being together on screen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Glad they were.
Yes. Can we before because I can see we're gonna because we've been going for a while actually. While I'm looking at this, can I talk about James Cameron and his marriages?
If you want.
Yes. I know that has absolutely nothing to do with the film, but because it's a James Cameron production, because I find James Cameron fascinating, mainly because I just love his films. I love Alien. I was about to say Alien 2. But I love Aliens. I know it's terrible, isn't it? I love Aliens as well. I love Aliens. Roll your eyes at this all you like. I don't care. I love Avatar. Love it.
I mean, he does as well.
Yeah, I know.
And boy, is he making sure that we love it by the end of...
I remember going to see Avatar and thinking, I have never seen anything like this before. I went twice. I felt it was the most immersive experience I've ever had at the cinema.
Don't get me wrong. I think as a spectacle... I think it was excellent. I don't think it was a good film.
Well, it's your Point Break, isn't it? You know, when we were talking on our Point Break date night, we were trying to list all the films that like are like Point Break in that someone goes into another culture or another gang.
Ferngully,
And,
Pocahontas.
I know a lot of people said that it was like that, but I really loved it. I wanted to be a great big blue, whatever they are. I've forgotten what they're called. The
Navy.
That's it, the Navy. I wanted to be part of the Navy and go flying through the forest. But
Are you looking forward to the 27 sequels that we're getting over the next
not really,
8
no.
years? See, there we go.
Not really. But anyway, I was just saying, I am a fan of his films. Probably not all of them when I look at them, but those big ones that I'm thinking about. Now, James Cameron, this is what I find fascinating. Right? I really find people who have had lots of marriages, a bit like Henry VIII, I find them quite fascinating. I don't know why. There's something that probably needs unpacking in therapy, okay? So, he was first married...
I mean, I'm kind of worried about this.
He was first... Let's move on quickly.
Just give us some warning before you start the next one.
He was first married to Sharon Williams. They were married in 1978, and they divorced in 1984, which obviously is when The Terminator came out. So I like how it always, sort of gets involved with the film. Then do you know who else he married?
I know that he married her.
What, Linda Hamilton?
Linda Hamilton.
Well, wait, we have a little way to go before we get to Linda
Is
Hamilton.
it Catherine Bigelow first?
Hang on, no, we've got another one. So, then in 1985, which obviously is the year after Terminator, he marries Gail Ann Hurd, who is a very famous American film producer and founder of Valhalla Entertainment. She was... Let me have a look. She was the producer on The Terminator.
Okay.
So there's your little link in there. So, yeah. And Aliens and The Abyss. Okay?
Yeah.
So, The Abyss comes out in 1989.
Right.
Gail Ann Hurd and James Cameron get divorced in 1989. And in the same year, he marries Catherine Bigelow. So we got, it's the same year. So, divorced 1984, married 1985, divorced 1989, married 1989. He doesn't stay with Catherine Bigelow for very long. Or she doesn't stay with him. Because they get divorced in 1991. But then, 6 years later, he marries Linda Hamilton.
Okay.
So you've got actually a big jump, haven't you, from Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 91 to him marrying Linda Hamilton in 97. I suspect they were two very strong characters because they were only married for 2 years, divorced in 1999. But then again, he gets married again in 2000 to Susie Amos.
Who's that?
I'm just about to look her up.
Oh, I thought I was meant to know.
Susie Amos Cameron is an American environmental advocate, a former actress, a former model, and the wife of James Cameron, it says here. She's only been married twice.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
She plays Lizzie in Titanic.
Oh, she does.
I don't know who Lizzie is.
Oh, she's old lady chucking the heart of the ocean back into the ocean. She's her granddaughter, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or, it's not grandniece or something like that. She's the young girl that takes old Kate Winslet back to find the Titanic.
I thought the old lady threw it in the ocean.
Yeah. Good.
I went and got it for you.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, he's got a type, hasn't he?
Yes.
People that he's worked with. I suppose everyone has that. People they work with or people that they have... Well, people that they work with in different capacities, I suppose. Producers and actresses.
Okay. Before we go...
You want me to stop now, don't you?
I've got one more thing to say to you.
Right, go on.
How is it possible you don't remember I'll Be Back by Arnie and the Terminators?
Am I meant to know what you're referring to? Are you...
We were talking about this song before we started.
Have you been singing that
Yes.
today?
Yes.
Because you've been singing something and I have not understood.
It was a big hit in 1991.
I'll Be Back by Arnie and the Terminators.
Yes.
I'm saying it out loud to see if something actually goes bing, but it hasn't. Sorry. Is this what you were singing partway through the film when I turned to you and thought that you'd fallen asleep because I thought you'd done that thing where you kind of, when you float off into another thought pattern. And sometimes people start saying things out loud.
No. What I was actually doing was I was running, because like I said, I didn't remember much of this, but I was running through the plot. This was quite early on, before the bridge scene.
Yeah.
And in my head I was humming, "Oh my God, I was wrong. It was her all along." Yeah.
God. Oh, just
Yeah.
it's unbearable, isn't it? Really.
But anyway, Army and the Terminators
Yeah.
was a song by Steve Wright.
In the afternoon.
Yes, that's
Okay.
Steve Wright, from his, I might be doing the breakfast show or something like that then.
Right, yeah.
And then they then they released it as a single on the back of, it was about the same time Terminator 2 was out. And it became a huge hit in the UK. And they were on Top of the Pops. You will see them in about a year's time.
Oh yeah,
when
on Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
Ye olde Top of the Pops that's on.
it probably was kept off number 1 by Everything I Do It For You, because it was the same summer.
Well, yeah. Let's not mention that film.
But my residing memory of it is that when we started our school, because I went from primary school to high school in
Weird.
91. Why is that weird?
Because in the Northeast, you go primary, middle, high.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
that's
just
not the
odd.
same anywhere else. So when we had our first music lesson, they also did in a circle. It was like, right, can you name your favourite band?
Oh,
and I
God.
remember one of the girls saying her favourite band was Arnie and the Terminators.
And when you say one of the girls, you mean you, don't you, darling?
It wasn't me.
Are you
It
sure?
wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Were you? Well, obviously, your favourite band was, favourite person singing at the time was Hulk Hogan with "I Want to Be a Hulkamaniac."
No, that was 4 years before that CD came out.
There's nothing I can really say back to that.
Yeah, it got to number 5 in the charts anyway. Arnie and the Terminators, I'll be back.
Good, but it wasn't actually Arnie, it was Steve Wright.
Well, no, I think it was one of his team. You know, like how Chris Moyles used to do songs?
Yeah.
Like parody songs, and maybe it was Comedy Dave singing, or maybe it was a Melinda.
I mean, we're really going for our sort of like, if you're round about 40 odd from the UK, you might get these references.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was one of them, and it was one of his, like, his production staff singing a song in the style of Arnold
Right.
Schwarzenegger as the Terminator.
Good.
Here's a lesson from the future. It's Arnie etiquette. These and cues just make you lose the things that you should get. With an Uzi in my pocket and just one thing to say. I always get a refund and I always get my way. I've never had a problem in getting what I lack. You don't need please or thank you. You just need. I'll be back. I'll be back.
I'm gonna bring us to a close now.
Yeah, at least you got a song to go out with.
Is that the only reason you mentioned this?
No, because I love the song.
Do you want me to look it up? And yeah, you do. Yes,
Honey,
of course you do.
honey, the second this is off, I'm gonna put the thing on YouTube.
I might go to bed.
That's fine. I can follow you with a phone.
Thanks. Right.
Thanks a lot for listening,
Thanks, everyone.
and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Before you go, just a reminder that you can subscribe to the Honeymoon Period podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can join in the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for The Honeymoon Pod. Finally, if you like this episode and you think someone else would too, please share it. See you next time.